Okay, abusia, yabema kwaba sonko so ereba POG Media so. Abusia, yembonra yensemu. Aye Chief Justice Torkorno ne honsem na ye de brem na abusia Ghana ha say ye ka say obi ye law ye can law ye 1992 constitution no. Ye ka say de nipa or ye law lawyer Tsatsu Tsikata. Sa lawyer no ye NDC lawyer abusia ye ka say constitution no ye law na nkasa sa ama no na ye law na ye de more Throwback nyoma bi e course e Supreme Court na nyoma na e course no ema eye lawyer Tsatsu Tsikata kese Ghana ye Judiciary esanso kese Chief Justice Torkorno abusia na case because e Supreme Court a case ne course no na eye NPP ne NDC na chese omo the case no kokopie mu e court na lawyer Tsatsu Tsikata ono na represent NDC legal team no na case no ye ne ayete wodin ye hwe case na Chief Justice Torkorno bua case no or kwa case no or the case ne fa baby a any kwan say or the fa and even lawyer Tsatsu Tsikata correct no kra na say no ono nim de oye na sa case no emma lawyer Tsatsu Tsikata ebi na no kan sim bia nsem na o kan no ene abusia fight Chief Justice Torkorno asama lawyer ne kan no abusia eno na one no abon nsem e de ama lawyer Tsatsu Tsikata man nsem a o kan no ene Chief Justice Torkorno a sisi ano eno na enam so ema ye de pamo Chief Justice Torkorno na ensema e course no emane sanso quote Bible e de pem na asem no so na Bible na o quote ye no o quote Hosea chapter 8 verse 7 Hosea chapter 8 verse 7 na lawyer na somebody or conclude na somebody to you say I will conclude with prophetic words that were spoken centuries ago. For they sow the wind, and they shall reap the whirlwind. Abusia, asema lawyer Tsatsu Tsikata okoti no Bible word that okoti no or say for they what sow the wind, and they shall reap the whirlwind. Abusia, ye ka say the whirlwind that eno na ye den. Say chaotic and as a assembly a so chen e baba be hye wo kon na Bible ni masema Tsatsu Tsikata kan na busu eno na aba be hant maame no e che say we did the case bia case na we did no ebusu wachia nyoma bebre na afi e na eba hint no abusia mom yanko na yankonko tie ensema course na story no story bia de medi akira yanko mom yanko na yankonko tie lawyer Tsatsu Tsikata nensema audituja medamase.
I conclude with prophetic words that were spoken centuries ago. For they sow the wind and they shall reap the whirlwind. These are the words of the prophet Hosea, to be found in Hosea chapter 8 verse 7. He that has an ear, let him hear.
I indicated, you just heard Godfrey Yeboadame, but the minority in parliament also addressed the press this week on this same matter of the petitions against the Chief Justice. This is Alexander Fenyomakin some few days ago. Take a look.
This event at the residence of Reverend Ntim Fojo leaves so much to be desired. Very unfortunate. In any event, they could have used due process of law to, invite him. And then the final point, government must focus on issues of governance, creating jobs, and helping better the lives of the people. we are still aware that a lot more are being dismissed from various state institutions that are even very independent and are limited liability companies and whose budgets do not rely on government budgets. We are also concerned about an attempt by certain individuals in government to push for the removal of the Chief Justice. The judiciary should not be seen as part of the partisan political system in our country. All we need is to have an impartial judiciary to dispense justice. What is happening is unacceptable, and it's clear that the NDC government wants to infiltrate the judiciary and make it partisan. But my advice to all judges in the country, stand together. Let not somebody create an impression of one of you and think that by dislodging one of you, you will be the next. The next day, you would also be the next. The judiciary must stand as one body and make a full statement to condemn this act. The Ghana Bar Association must also stand for the judiciary. Civil society organizations must stand for the judiciary.
As Alexander Apenyoma King there, this morning I was clothed, or I have been clothed by Kogra Clothing, the best version of you. As always, what you see me wear every Saturday on this show is by Kogra Clothing. You can call them on 0244 238 341, 0244 238 341. They're on the Spintex Road, 18 Junction, opposite the Allied Oil Filling Station, ground floor, same building with the Ghana Made store. Also welcome private legal practitioner Christian Mahama. Good morning. Thank you for joining us, Counsel.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Perfect. And let me start off with Professor Ranso Jampo on this particular issue and what the minority is saying. You heard Alexander Fenyoma make that particular point. Already, we know the process is in place or ongoing. As far as we do know, the Chief Justice has responded to the petitions against her. The consultation with the Council of State, as enshrined in Article 146, is ongoing by the President. As to whether a prima facie case has been established or not, it is not public, so we do not know, even though there's been some publications pointing to that effect, and the minority also referencing some allegations that they say is contained in the petitions against the Chief Justice. But how things have played out, and especially the concerns that have come up, does it have any merit in there, in governance?
Yes. So let me speak as somebody who teaches governance and leadership and has undertaken a lot of research in that area. I mean, frankly, if we are really interested in nation building and the development of Ghana, then we should all be worried about this incident of wanting to change appointees when new regime takes over. And it is not something that is being done or people want this particular regime do. It is something that has characterized the conduct of our governance and politics from 1992 up till now. It is my view that there can be no meaningful talk about development if there isn't some form of stability. So, a nation that wants to develop cannot develop if it is always changing. Okay, so people are appointed, new government comes in, they change. People are appointed, new government comes in, they change. Generally, my general view about that is that it does not help us in our quest to build strong institutions and in our quest to ensure that there is a needed, people build the needed competences and people stay in office permanent enough to gain the needed experience to be able to serve the nation well. You see, in countries that believe in coalition, coalition government easily crumbles. And when coalition government easily crumbles, sometimes these countries are able to run on their own even before new elections are held. And they succeed because the officials in the country who are not politicians may have been able to stay in office for long, garnered the needed experience and competences such that government comes, government go. Whether there's government or not, they will be able to run the country well. So I'm saying that we should be aiming at ensuring that we build institutions such that regardless of who is in power, okay, there are people there who will be able to serve the nation. Very important. So I am not so much enthused about the practice of always wanting to change appointees when new regimes, get into power. But let us interrogate the issues very well. Nahu Kosam. Why is it that these things are going on? The point is this. It is because of the mode of appointment of these officials. We must begin to interrogate them. If we are going to continue to appoint judges like the way we've been appointing them, then we would always continue to face this kind of challenge. Okay? Elsewhere, judges are appointed after they have written competitive exams. Elsewhere, judges are appointed after they have attended some interviews. Elsewhere, judges are directly elected by the people. Now, we have fashioned out a kind of constitutional arrangement that allows the president to appoint, he said in consultation with the Council of State. The Council of State, Judiciary, and in consultation with a body that the president himself has a hand in determining its composition. Now, and the challenge has also been that when this power of appointment is being exercised, it is exercised in a manner that does not fully satisfy the Weberian conception of meritocracy. And so what happens is that you want to appoint a chief justice. There are so many senior judges on the Supreme Court, but the appointment power is exercised in a manner that disregards these seniors. It disregards the contribution of seniority and people who have been there for long. So they will say, well, it's a political appointment. So they will go and pick somebody who doesn't have that kind of experience, who has not been there for that long, and who has not garnered that kind of competences. They will just appoint you and then say, we are making you the Chief Justice. Now, if you do that, first of all, your seniors begin to question you. Secondly, the idea of meritocracy, you not meeting that requirement comes in. Okay? And once you yourself know that, look at the fact that I had people who were senior to me there, and I've been appointed over them, I've been chosen over them. Once you yourself appreciate that you've benefited from that kind of political grace, you tend to now want to sing or dance to the tune of your appointing authority. And so soon after your appointment, you see how the comportment and the conduct and the public utterances and the attitude of these appointees, who would always do everything possible to please their appointing authority. Why? Because the appointing authority chose them over their seniors. Now, the moment you begin to do that, then you make yourself a candidate for efforts to remove you anytime power changes hands. Because given the way and manner you are appointed, and given your own feeling of wanting to show gratitude to your appointing authority, you would publicly you would conduct yourself in a manner that would make people see that, look, you are only dancing to the tune of your appointing authority and you are not asserting the principle of your independence or judicial independence. And so when that happens, you tend to create in the psyche of the people that you are for your appointing authority. And it is unfortunate that in Ghana, appointees up to now haven't developed or haven't learned or haven't been socialized into the practice of learning to serve the nation rather than serving government. Okay, people appointed would always want to please the appointing authority rather than serving the nation. Now, the moment you decide that, look, I won't serve the nation, but I always want to dance to the tune of my appointing authority, then you make yourself a candidate for removal. When the next election, produces a different result, because no government would also want to see a judiciary headed by people who clearly are doing the bidding or did the bidding of a former government. And the other bit is that, look, people must learn to gravitate towards where there is power. What I've seen is that in the Ghanaian public service, even when power changes hands, people are not intelligent enough to know that, look, my bosses that brought me here are gone, and so let me go then serve the new boss. They don't know it. And so what happens is that there are anecdotal and also empirical evidence of some of these people who were previously appointed doing things to sabotage the newly installed and invested regime. And so when this thing happens, to prevent that kind of sabotage and all that, then the new government would also want to ensure that these things don't go on. And so then they would give in, or people would make petitions. Okay. People who love the regime would want to make petitions that you are changed so that there is no sabotage. All these things do not help advance our democracy and good governance. And so I am not happy with the fact that we would always want to change, but there are reasons why some of these things happen. And so my view is that let us, as President Mahama has resuscitated the constitutional review process, I am looking forward to a certain recommendation that would help us, or would be in the direction that let us rethink the mode of appointing certain officials of state, especially when it comes to judges and then the Chief Justice. Let us rethink it so that, number one, we will appoint people based on the Weberian conception of meritocracy. If you're appointing, you should be sure that the person, how do you feel as a young judge who has been made the Chief Justice, when your seniors, people who taught you, people who have garnered all the experience and competence are there, and then you are just made to benefit from that kind of political grace? Okay, meritocracy also includes experience. And so the recommendation that I'm expecting from the Constitutional Review Committee that has been put in place by President Mahama should look at how judges are appointed, and we should focus on meritocracy. And then when the person has also been appointed on merit, let the person who gets into office assert himself or herself in the discharge of his duty or her duty, such that people would appreciate your independence. Now, you should not play to the gallery. You shouldn't be seen that, well, because it is Party X that appointed you, you are doing things in a manner that pleases only that party that appointed you. We are here in Ghana, and we had this cliche of unanimous FC. It created a very bad image for the judiciary, that because their heads or their bosses were appointed by the ruling government, they are always playing to the gallery, and when a matter is given to them, the empaneling and the verdict of the judges clearly show that they have taken sides, in a manner that does not guarantee their own independence and their survival and their own permanence in office. So it is important that we look at some of these things holistically, such that we will be able to be inching closer to the quest that we build institutions and actually strengthen them. Because this practice of we always want to change, it will not help. It will not help anybody. But I'm saying that the practice of we would always want to change would fester and will continue so long as we do not rethink the mode of appointment of judges, so long as the judges themselves conduct themselves in a manner that gives them out as having taken side. If you take side, then you do not expect. Now, President Mahama must go according to the implement the work of the oral committee. But those who have stolen from us, they must be brought to book. But if the president does not trust the judiciary, then it becomes difficult, because then the idea is that if you go there, they will frustrate you. So it is important that we do things that would bring about public trust in the judiciary, such that regardless of whoever is in power, we can trust that the judges and the judiciary will act with some sense of competence and independence. Other than that, if we overlook this, then the practice of always wanting to change would continue in a manner that would undermine our quest to build strong institutions.
Well, and on this particular path of the Constitutional Review Commission, because
okay, abusunya wene ensema ekoso ewo political highway ni so eye lawyer Tsatsu Tsikata ene chese yete se ode sa ensem no etuda enye asem keto akra ye beda masesa mo jepene kokoti sa odu no ede mai aha POG Media so